Hello, hello. I wanted to share with you how we're going to paint this. This I call it a tulip. It could also be a bud of some sort. It's just a fun little flower that I've painted before, and I really have fun. Here's another version of it. So, anyways, I'm going to share with you how I do that. I start off with a pencil and a drawing, a very loose pencil drawing. And then at that point, I almost erase it so it's nothing. So I have this little oval, and then I'm going to have this stem kind of doing this, and then I have this nice leaf that goes up. And then when I pretty much have that figured out, then I'll kind of do my cute little petal. I'm going to erase all these lines because I don't need them, and I'll actually erase the other lines because I want it to be very light. But so anyways, this just gives me a guide of what I'm looking for. So then I can just kind of get this going on. Okay, so I'm liking that. It's enough. You can probably barely see it. You can see my pencil lines. Started with an oval, and then I went into, and then I'm going to actually have this kind of curve in like this, and that, and then I'm kind of want that to be a little bit, not so much of an edge. There, I like that. All right. That's looking good. All right, so this is a wet in wet technique. So I'm getting this all wet. I'm getting this tulip bud flower shape. It's just a pretty shape. So I'm going to get that wet, and I'll even get it down to the stem. And now I can add my yellow. I don't want a whole lot of yellow, but I do want a little bit because I really like it pink. But I'm going to add the yellow here. And it's just going to kind of, I just want it to just be very faint, very simple. And I'm going to add a little bit more water. Now I'm going to add my Alizarin Crimson. So I was using New Gamboge for the yellow, Alizarin Crimson. And I'm going to start here. And where it touches the yellow, I don't necessarily want to finish. I don't want it to go into the yellow part. And now I can kind of pull it in, just pull it down, pull the pigment around and down. I guess is a good way to put it. And now wherever there is not a whole lot of there was that little tip that I thought would be fun to add. But now I'm second guessing myself, and I'm going to take that away. It's my painting. I can do what I want. But I really love the delicateness of this right here. So I'm going to keep that. I'm going to let that sit for just a little bit. That's the first part of it. Now I can work on the stem. And I'm just going to get that stem wet. I'm going to add, I'm using Hooker's green. You can use whatever green you have. I don't think it's going to matter. Hooker's green is a bright bluish green. I really like how that's looking. I don't necessarily want it to go deep into the flower. There, just like that. And now I can do the same thing with this leaf though. I'm going to add, it's going to be a little bit different. I want the stem to be lighter than the leaf. So I'm going to add some blue to the leaf. Because if you were to look at a tulip, the leaves are just a little bit darker than the stem. I wouldn't say much, but a little bit. And again, wet on wet, I wetted the leaf, so now I can I'm just adding some of that ultramarine to that hooker's green to get it that little bit darker bluish color. I love painting flowers. I think I might just keep it like that and then add. I'm going to go back in, I think, with a second layer and add more of that blue. But I really love how this, how that's turning out, and I'm really loving how the Alizarin Crimson is working with the yellow. It's really pretty. All right, so now I'm going to do some splatter, just a tiny bit, because I can. I feel like flowers have such a beautiful look to them, and now I'm just going to take away some of those. I'm going to add like a wash at the end of this flower so it has some background to it. I like that. I'm going to let it be. Now I can add what I call my background, my very loose wash background, and I'm going to add this beautiful ultramarine. I just love ultramarine, and I'm just adding it. You don't have to add the background. I think adding a background just kind of makes the whole it just adds atmosphericness to the painting. I am letting the Alizarin Crimson just kind of go where it wants because I can, and I'm okay with that. I think it adds atmospheric texture, and it's watercolor, so it's supposed to be. And then I'm looking to see where my water is and where I need to add more, because I'm going to be adding some more of that ultramarine blue. Very light, very, very light. Not a lot. Now you could go darker. There's nothing wrong with going darker. I just choose to not go darker. The darker you get, I feel like the more heavier the painting gets. So if tulips are very dainty and delicate, so I'm thinking about that when I'm painting as well. Okay, and I'm really liking how this. I do turn around my paper a lot, and I don't know. It works for me. It might not work for you. That might drive you crazy, but for me, it really does work. I'm just adding more water. What I'm hoping is ultramarine has this beautiful granulating quality to it, and so it will just automatically look. It has a look of a watercolor look even without trying too much because of that granulation. Woohoo! I like that. I think I'm gonna call that done, except for right in here I did not get my ultramarine in, so I'll do that right quick. There. Beautiful. Very, very beautiful. I love it. Okay, I'm calling that one done. Now what I could do, and I think I might because I can, is I'm going to add a little bit more red. Actually, I'll start with yellow. Just up in here, there's always tulips that are yellow and red, and I just think they're gorgeous. And it's hard to create that unless you let that first layer dry and then add more of that beautiful yellow. And I think that's just going to make the red pop even more. I really like that. Now, because it's still wet, I can go in and I can just add to it. I wanted this like petal to be like that. I'm going to add more of that here. trying to not overwork it. That's the last thing I want. I want it to look very organic. That's my hope. I think I am going to add just a tiny bit on this edge. It lost that edge a little bit. I don't necessarily want it to be completely gone. And then I smoothed out that edge with just some clean water. And I'm going to do the same on this side of the line. There we go. We got a beautiful, beautiful, simple tulip. I did say I was going to go back in and make that leaf a little bit darker. My whole tulip is one tone. I don't really like that. So I'm going to go back in and just paint it so it's darker. And that would just add more drama to the tulip. You can already see that making it look a bit more darker. And I don't necessarily want to. There, I like that. Done. It's beautiful and it's done. Now I have a little bit of extra pretty. I have some gold, iridescent gold on my palette. You can get this gold paint in watercolor form. Almost every brand has it. I'm just going to go ahead and sprinkle some. I have this love affair with iridescent gold and pigment. So if you see my art, it always has some form of iridescent quality in it, usually, almost always. And I just think it adds a little bit. There we go. I'm done. So it is a little bit different. This one, I did put a lot of iridescent gold. You can kind of see. You can see the iridescent. It's really pretty. It's a bit smaller. What I could do, just to add a little bit more drama to the leaves, because I can, and I can't leave things alone. And just add some of this line work. Really dark right by there. That has a more painterly look to it that I was looking for. Woohoo! That's looking good. I like that. And now what I could do is very lightly, maybe, I might be wishing I didn't, but I'm doing it anyways. I'm going to add just a little bit more line work here. And I'm thinking of the shape that I'm looking at, and I think I want to add a little bit here. It's still kind of wet, so it's going to bleed in on its own, which makes me happy. And then again, I can go in with the yellow and do the same, which why not? I can, and I will. This, I think I'll just blend it in. And who knows, maybe I'm going too much, but I really like having this yellow pop with the red. I like that. Each time I paint it, it's going to look different because first off, there's no fun in painting the same thing over and over again. I think that if I were to try it again, I would maybe just have this right here. I'm not loving this shape. In fact, let's see what happens if I just were to kind of play around, right? It's all about, I really like that. Now it's more of an oval. Maybe it's the start of a peony. It just, to me, my eyes, this shape works because it's basically a heart with a pretty little curved petal, right? But this one, I felt like it didn't work. So anyways, shapes are important. I like playing with my shapes. I have yet to figure out how to paint something the same, but I do love this. I love the leaf actually the best, and I love this part right up here. And I think even if I were to just add a little bit more here, just a couple of little lines. That's going to make it look like a peony, I think, or a rose, something. And I'm going to go in here and just kind of, just so we get some extra. There. Now it's beginning to open, and there's my intuitive style coming out. You just keep playing until you get the right shapes that you like, and I like that. So anyways, play around with your intuitive paintings. I also did this one. This one's a fun, same thing. It's more of like a V, but you can, play around with your shapes first, draw it, and then paint. And then this one is just a simple rose, kind of same technique, just different shapes. So anyways, hope this was helpful, and I hope you have fun painting all the fun flowers. And let me know if you have any questions, especially in the comments, if you wanted to know where I got something, or if you want to know more about how to get started with painting. I'd love to show you. I'm having fun painting. So anyways, we'll talk to you guys soon.